Squirrels! So hello, and welcome to another Legends of Runeterra video. My name is Chris, and today we will be going through Leona and seeing what she does. You can see here that I'm pretty quick on the ball today, so let's just get straight into it and see what we have in store. Leona, it's a little quiet. Turn that up a bit.
Divine light shines within me.
Leona, 4 mana. Didn't see what she did. Ooh. That looked pretty cool. Just show me the card. 3/5. Okay, so pretty solid stat line. Stuns opponents. Okay. So we've got this kind of daylight thing going on. Yep, becomes a 3/6, so a level up is to do with this. Once Daybreaks 4 times, she levels up. Right, hold on, her card was there. Let me just look at this. Okay, so Leona, 4 mana. 3/5 Daybreak, stun the strongest enemy. Leveled up, you've activated Daybreak 4+ times. Pretty standard, this is kind of what we expected, but the 3/5 stat line obviously is pretty strong. Daybreak, stun the strongest enemy. Not the most powerful ability, so kind of like, you can see this as a better stat line than Nocturne, but a worse, like, come down ability, like Daybreak, but I suppose Daybreak is somewhat easier to enable, and, you know, you can just play it straight away. You've activated Daybreak 4+ times. So again, this is not something that's seen. So, you know, if you just play Daybreak cards, that's pretty good. I think what's going to be important for Leona is seeing what her leveled up ability is and seeing, you know, how strong that is. And that's going to be pretty make or break, I think, for whether this is a deck. And, hold up. There is Leona. So, Daybreak. Or when you activate another Daybreak, stun the strongest enemy. Okay. Okay, we'll talk about this as we see the card on Twitter as well.
Question all that you are told.
Sunlight burns away all doubts.
What was that card? Whoa!
I do not believe it. Daylight everlasting.
Okay, so there's Leona. So let's just quickly move on over to Twitter. Okay, so here we have Leona and all of her cards. One of those things seemed pretty interesting. So let's start with the cards that we didn't really get to see. Let's start on this right-hand side with Sunburst. This was the one that I think just killed Ledros. A 6 mana slow speed card. Deal 6 to a unit. Daybreak. Instead, silence it this round and deal 6 to it. Okay. Deal 6 to a unit, so didn't we get a 7 mana deal 7 to a unit, toss 3. I can't remember what the name of that card is. It's in Bilgewater. Can't really remember. So it's sort of similar to that. It's 6 mana for 6, but it's slow speed. Silence it this round and deal 6 to it. So obviously it's good for Ledros. It you know, they showed us the best capability of it was, you know, killing Ledros. But other than that, is this really a good card? I don't think so. Like, why would you play this over Vengeance? Like, the fast speed on Vengeance for the extra mana and the guaranteed kill, this is just a much worse version of that. You'd rather play Vengeance. You'd rather play 5 mana Will of Ionia. The slow speed is just going to kill this card. I don't see any reason to play it. So I don't think Sunburst will be a card you'll be seeing a lot of. Like, I understand that a lot of things are overcosted in the game, but how many things have 6 health where you really need to deal 6 to it? There isn't that many, you know. This is why Grasp is played, because, you know, the drain effect, and, you know, 3 generally kills most things. You know, most things in the game have 3 or less health, or, you know, around 3 health, whereas 6, there isn't... 5 is kind of like a big cutoff where there isn't many things with 6. So if you can find something that does 5, that'd be much better, I feel like. If this was 5 mana, deal 5, it would probably be more playable. It does deal with, gonna forget the name of the card. You know, the 5 mana Demacia one with Tough and Lifesteal. Radiant Guardian. It does deal with Radiant Guardian for 6 mana, but overall, not a card that I think is great. Zenith Blade, we saw this one as well. Grant an ally 1, 2, and overwhelm. Daybreak, draw a Zenith Blade. Whoa. Grant an ally 1, 2, and overwhelm. Daybreak, draw a card. A 3 mana grant overwhelm. And give a card a buff stats. Is it slow speed? That's going to bring it down a bit, but what card? There must be a way. There is a target for this that I'm just not thinking of that is going to be really, really, really strong. There just must be. There simply must be a card that this is good with that I can't think of. What's the best way to use it? Swain could be pretty good. Giving Swain overwhelm. Vi seems pretty good with overwhelm and extra health. I could definitely... Zenith Blade seems like a card that is a combo piece that will find a home. The fact that you can then draw another card with it, like even if it is just another Zenith Blade, the fact that, you know, you still have that card, it's also pretty good. This is a strong card. Not super strong, like it's still 3 mana, it's slow speed. You're going to have to pick, you know, a somewhat resilient target, and the times that they do kill it, it's going to feel pretty bad. But if you can get this off on something like Vi, I think Vi is probably maybe your best option, right? Like if you think about leveled up Vi, you've got a 10-5 tough, you're giving it 2 extra health. Like if you challenge something, you've got 11 overwhelm, it's dealing 5 anyway. This could be a deck, a Zenith Blade Vi deck. I really do think that this is kind of a cool idea, and one that you could really use. Would you use it with Leona? Maybe. But I don't think that's where this card's best use is. But this is a good card and a cool card as well. A card that you can definitely find some uses for. I just named 2, but I'm sure there's other things out there as well. Zed's shadow is always the same though, isn't it? But you know, you're making Zed more resilient, and then when he does level up, you've got the guaranteed overwhelm. It's like, that's okay, I guess. Yeah, this is going to be an interesting card. A card I definitely will at least see experimentation before people call it bad or good. It's one of those cards that I think, if Will of Ionia was still 4 mana, I'd say that this card is worse. But considering Will is now 5 and less played, you know, this card could see some play, because like even if it gets denied, it's not the worst thing to get. You know, you've that technically traded mana up. So this is the kind of card I think that is actually really good, and will definitely see play. Guiding Touch is a 2 mana burst speed spell. Heal an ally or your Nexus 2, draw 1. Ooh, whoa. Well, this card will definitely see play, I think. I don't see a way in which it doesn't. We've seen decks with Key Guardian get played, and I mean, a Karma Targon deck, I mean, this is just going in there 110%, and there isn't even a question. In any Karma Targon deck, if such a deck exists, you're definitely going to play Guiding Touch 110%. And any really Targon control, I could see this getting played in a lot of different scenarios. Any sort of spell-based synergy deck, yeah, I could see this in a lot of different positions, to be honest. I'm going to take this off. I don't need this on. I don't know why I kept that on. Yeah, Guiding Touch, wow. Heal an ally or your Nexus 2, draw 1. So, yeah, kind of like Key Guardian, I guess. Is the effect better than Key Guardian, worse than Key Guardian? Probably maybe slightly worse. Like Key Guardian synergizes very well with Claws of the Dragon. It's in the same region as well. Guiding Touch isn't... I haven't seen a card that I can think of, at least. Maybe there is, where it synergizes really, really well with it. But the fact that it has, you know, some changeability. I think that this would fit maybe in a like Braum Targon deck, you know, with the mentor type stuff. You know, kind of as like an elixir of iron with draw potential on it for like Braum. Like, you know, you've buffed up your Braum. They've finally gone in and said, okay, I need to kill this, you know, with like Mystic Shot or something. And you've gone, no, I heal my Braum. You hit it. That could see some potential as well. So Guiding Touch, pretty decent card. I don't think it's amazing. I think it's decent, but we'll definitely find it home. Certainly in Karma decks is my thought. 100% in Karma decks, because obviously you can just draw 2 and then you can heal your Nexus 4 for 2 mana. Like, that's insane. So if such a deck exists, Guiding Touch will definitely be in there, and might find other applications as well. But I don't think it's insane on its own. So Leona's Morning Light is a 5 mana. So this is a champion spell. 5 mana slow speed spell. Give allies 2/2 this round. Shuffle Leona in your deck. Daybreak. Activate all allied Daybreak effects at once. Ooh. Interesting. The only thing is with this, that like, I see this as kind of like a 4 Demacia. You can. This is a pretty good comparison actually. This is basically 4 Demacia. You know, in that it gives 2/2 instead, and you know, if you're in a Leona deck already, of course you're already playing the Daybreak cards, so you know, Daybreak is going to happen, and that's that, and they're all going to get their extra buffs and the like. So you're going to have what, like a 5/5 for the 1-drop, and the 2-drop is going to become a 5/8. So you got a 5/5, a 5/8. Leona is going to stun something, stun the strongest enemy. I mean, you know, you look at that as a whole, and that's a pretty good effect. And 4 Demacia obviously can just give you really, really good trades for that turn, and sort of, you know, force your opponent to be on the back foot and sort of say, deal with me this turn, I'll lose the game. But it is very all in. Could you see... Leona's an interesting one. I don't really know. Like, this card is fine. It's a fine card. It's not amazing. Leona herself has a decent stat line, but Daybreak. Oh, wait, activate another Daybreak. Stun the strongest enemy. Could you see Leona Swain? And like, you know, your idea is that you go in for Swain, and with Leona, you're just stunning them constantly. You just stun their entire board until you just attack completely with, you know, and they can't even block. Potentially. Leona is a really interesting one, because unlike Nocturne, this effect I feel like isn't really giving you the chance to like fully win the game necessarily, which is a bit odd, because often champions, you know, when they level up are sort of saying, you know, build around me in the right way and I'll win you the game. But Leona sort of is saying like, I'm a solid unit, and you know, when I level up, I'm like a solid unit with a decent ability. It's kind of a bit odd. She is solid though. She's, I mean, 3/5 stat line on turn 4, you know, same as Shen, and you know, Shen is often good for at least 2 decent trades. And so Leona with that same stat line is also probably good for at least 2 decent trades, and is a pretty big threat. And the fact that she's stunning the strongest enemy when she comes down on turn 4, if you attack on turn 4, or as a defensive, I suppose in a defensive way, Leona obviously coming down on turn 4, stunning the strongest enemy. That's kind of like an Arachnoid Sentry, which is pretty good. Obviously, you don't get to choose technically, so it's like a bit worse. But the fact that it's going on a 3/5, you know, she goes for the level up herself, and the level up is pretty easy. And so if you're getting a 4-mana 4/6, that whenever you get a Daybreak, you stun the strongest enemy. This is going to be similar, I think, to Nocturne, where the Daybreak cards that we've seen are certainly better than the Nightfall cards we've seen. I think like the 1-drop and 2-drop we saw yesterday was certainly of a definite playable level. And so I think Leona, for that reason alone, has more chance than Nocturne. And it's kind of almost like this deck is acting as kind of like a similar but different Demacia. Like, I'm getting very Demacia vibes from it, that you just, are hoping to just curve out in a sort of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 way with units with Daybreak on them. And they're going to, be pretty well statted, and, you're going to control the board for the first couple turns, and then, you're going to develop. It's just what later threat are you going to get from Targon that's really giving you that chance of, going crazy? Like, where's the Genevieve? Where's the Cythria? I think that's sort of what's missing for me. Like, this big, like, here's a follower that will, help you win the game. Like, we saw the Sun thing yesterday, the Overwhelm one with the, 8-7 attack with the first time it comes down, but then it's a 4-3. It's like, that's just not strong enough. You want, like, I want, like, board-wide effects. And I suppose, in a way, Nocturne can kind of give you that if you can level Nocturne up, but I think the Nightfall deck seems to want to go a lot quicker than the Daybreak deck. Like, could there be a night and day deck potentially? And we'll have to see with what other cards come out. It very well could be that that's the case, but knowing what we do now, I think that deck is a bit confused in what it wants to be doing. The Nightfall cards were somewhat aggressive, but the Daybreak cards have been more like, we are solid mid-range cards. Like, this is a mid-range deck. We're playing a 4-mana 3/5. We're playing a 2-mana 3/6 for the first turn, a 1-mana 3/3, a 5-mana 5/5. It's like, they're all just very solidly statted units that are going to stick around and be like, no, you can't attack me this turn. We're anti-aggro, deal with it. Or, if you're against control, you can't deal with a 2-mana 3/6 on turn 2. Haha, But if you got chump blockers, there's nothing I can do. So, yeah, I don't know. I think the most interesting card here is actually Zenith Blade. I'm really excited for that card. As I say, I think Vi could, Vi with Zenith Blade and a bunch of gems or something, to get the stats up. Like, this is what I'm picturing in my head is, you just give Vi a bunch of gems, you give Vi Overwhelm, and then, you just got this unkillable unit, and the gems are healing Vi as well. And then, you just have to, I don't know, pray that they don't have Vengeance or Ruination or Will of Ionia. And then, you just hope to win that way. It could happen, and maybe there's some other things that could be in there as well. Like, Zenith Blade can potentially go pretty well with, what's that henchman card in PNZ as well? Like, Nexus Strike, create an exact copy of me. Like, if you can get that to be, what would it be? Like, I think it's a 5/3, so it'd be like a 6/5, and then, you just get another 6/5 straight away. Like, that's pretty good. So yeah, Zenith Blade has a lot of potential, I think, and I'm really excited to see what I can come up with that card. Sunburst, I'm not really into. It's good for Ledros, which is what they showed us, but I think that's about it. Guiding Touch, decent card, particularly if there's a Targon Karma deck. Leona's Morning Light, kind of like for Demacia, okay. Will feel great in certain spots, but then in other spots will just feel like a complete dead card in your hand. Leona herself, an interesting champion. It feels like a bit of a different champion, where it's like, normally the 4-mana champions have some kind of win to them. She's more like a support champion. Hey, maybe that's what she is in League, and I just don't know. More of like a solid support champion than being like a really good, but also requires a very crucial synergy. Like, this is the thing, I think, and this is what I'll finish on, is like, compare Leona to Shen. Shen, whilst requiring some synergy, doesn't require the most synergy in the world, because, you get other decent cards like Bright Steel Protector and stuff like that are just like, solid cards on their own, and yeah, they provide barrier, but, like, Shen gives his own stuff barrier. It's like, whereas Leona just feels like you have to play this Daybreak deck, and Shen's like effect of giving something barrier when he attacks, like that's useful just in itself. The fact that he's probably going to attack 2 times, and if you're pairing him with challenges, which probably are, then you're getting good trades anyway. It doesn't matter. Like the whole deck has this kind of theme and identity, and he's with Demacia, and it feels proper and correct and pretty good. Whereas Leona's like you're gonna need to play the Daybreak cards, of course, and if those cards are bad, then you're just gonna think, like, okay, well, no one's ever going to play Leona until those cards are good. And the cards that we've been revealed have been okay. It's kind of similar to Nocturne, where it's like, it's just very reliant on those other cards being good. So that's where I'm going to end this one. I think excited for Zenith Blade. Probably more excited I've been for a card in a little while. This card kind of just speaks to me on a level of like, these are the cards that I really love. I don't really like the 1 mana card yesterday. It's a good card. It's a very strong card. It's a card that you will see play. But it doesn't speak to me. It doesn't speak to me like Zenith Blade speaks to me. And I want to learn how to use it in the most correct and proper way. And that is where I will end this one. My name's been Chris. Thank you so much for watching. Have a really nice day.